Hi, my name's Bridget and I'm a Project Support Officer for the Youth Educating Peers project. Today I'm going to be doing a video of how to get an STI test during isolation. Keep in mind that this information is current as of April 2020 and things are changing pretty rapidly to respond to the pandemic, so make sure that you keep up to date with any restrictions regarding COVID-19. I've chosen to use SHQ, which is the Sexual Health Quarters in Northbridge. However, there's a range of other services that you can use that are still operating even during COVID-19. And the YEP project has made a referral resource which you can access on our website or social media, which will let you know where the youth-friendly sexual health services are. So I recently rang up SHQ to ask if they would be able to test me for an STI, and they said yes. However, there's been a slight change to services, which is what I'm going to run you through. So I've just gotten off the phone with SHQ. They asked me questions about my sexual health history, which they said would remain confidential. Questions like, how many partners have you had, for how long, what demographics would they fit into, what activities have you done. There's no one STI test detects them all, so different activities place you more or less at risk of different STIs. So that's why they ask you those questions, just to see what testing methods they need to prepare, and why it's super important for you to be as open and honest as possible during the consultation. So I'm going to head over to the pickup area now. There's a little garage that I can drive into, and I'm going to take you along for the ride. So this is the outside of the Sexual Health Quarters building in Northbridge. They have a warning not to enter the building if you have a fever, cough, sore throat, shortness of breath, or if you have travelled overseas in the last 14 days, or if you have had close contact with someone diagnosed with or suspected of having coronavirus in the last 14 days. STI testing stuff is around the corner to the right in this car park area. This is the lovely SHQ staff with pickup to the left and drop off to the right. The nurse will then sanitize their hands thoroughly and talk you through everything you need to know to test at home. They hand it over, making sure not to come into contact, and away you go. Easy and simple. Okay, so I'm back and I have the goodies. It includes a pickup, and there's also 3 different swabs. One is for throat, which is this one. Another is for vaginal swab, which is this one. And then the smaller one, might not be able to see it, that one, slightly smaller than that one, anal swab. So I've got 4 different types of testing. SHQ gave them to me so that I could show you, so you wouldn't necessarily have this many methods of testing. There's also a pathology request form. Then this here, another sheet of paper, is the instructions. So I'm going to go through that with you and figure out how to do this. So we'll start with the urine sample. They say to wash your hands with soap and water first, unscrew the lid from the specimen jar, pee the first part of the urine stream into the jar about 1/3 full, and then pee the rest into the toilet. Screw the lid back on the jar and put the specimen in the bag. And then wash your hands with soap and water afterwards. For the throat swab, wash your hands well with soap and water. Look in the mirror and open your mouth as wide as you can. Gently wipe the swab over the tonsils and all over the punching bag. Place the swab in the tube you've been given and then wash your hands again with soap and water. Vaginal swab, wash your hands with soap and water. Sit on the toilet or stand with one foot resting on the lid of the toilet. Separate the labia and put the tip of the moistened swab stick about 2 centimeters inside the vagina. Twirl or rotate the swab once, count to 10 and remove the swab. Follow the instructions given by your doctor or nurse and then wash your hands with soap and water. So anal swab is next, and wash your hands with soap and water like the others. Sit on the toilet or stand with one foot resting on the lid of the toilet. Put the tip of the moistened swab stick 3 or 4 centimeters inside the anus. Twirl or rotate the swab while gently pushing upwards. Count to 10 and remove the swab. And put the specimen in the jar and then wash your hands with soap and water.
So now that I've read the instructions, I'm going to go take the tests and see how I go. Back and done. So that was interesting. Urine sample was pretty standard, just making sure not to pee on yourself. That's pretty easy. For the majority of young people, doing an STI test only involves a pee sample, and that's why they say it's piss easy to do an STI test. The anal swab was a little bit more interesting, just making sure that you put it in far enough. Doing the vaginal swab was quite easy actually, especially for somebody who uses tampons. That was like 2 centimeters is nothing. And actually I found the throat swab to be the hardest just because of gag reflex, so it took a little bit to make sure that I'd swabbed it over the correct areas towards the tonsils at the back. So I was like a little bit daunted at the beginning, but now that it's done, it was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be, and I'm pretty happy that I got it done. And again, I only had to take those 4 tests as a sample for this video. You wouldn't necessarily have to do 4.
There's a couple different options. I can bring it back to sexual health quarters in Northbridge, but on the back of the pathology request form is a list of different places that you can actually drop it off to instead. So they're all Path West collection centres.
There's areas to drop off all over WA, including metro and regional. If you're in the metro area, there might even be a number of places close to your house that you can drop off.
So I'm going to go off to SHQ and drop these samples back.
Depending on the service, you'll probably get a call or a text to let you know what your results are. Thanks for watching. I hope the information was useful and that you feel a little bit more confident to take an STI test during social distancing. And just know that getting an STI test was much, much easier than filming this video.